Good morning. It's a lovely, well, it's good afternoon actually. It's a lovely sunny Sunday. Doing my usual daily catch up with information, reading a few different articles, and come across one that certainly might be of interest to people who are either acting as letting agents or acting as estate agents or both, or potentially sourcing agents because you're covered by the same legislation. You should know that. And what it is, Material Information Rules axed overnight as new Consumer Act takes precedence. Now, this article's from the Negotiator online magazine, so all credit to Negotiator for the article. It's not my article. I'm commenting on their article. So just for that clarity. So industry leaders warn of considerable confusion as rules after less than 2 years. As rules withdrawn after less than 2 years, leaving agents in legal limbo. Well, I don't think it actually leaves them in legal limbo. It still leaves them with an obligation. But I'll come to that in a minute. The property sector faces significant disruption as material information guidance has been withdrawn with immediate effect. So they've just basically gone, we're pulling it. There's no being run up to this. It's just been taken away. So the National Trading Standards Estate and Letting Agency, which spent several years developing the rules on material information for property listings, is now reportedly rapidly removing all related details from their communication channels. A note on trading standards previously dedicated web page says the development of guidance on material information was based on supporting estate and letting agents to meet their legal obligations under the Consumer Protection and Unfair Trading Regulations 2008. That was the regulation, obviously, it says regulation in it. These regulations have since been superseded, so in other words, something's come along that actually takes precedence over them, by the new Digital Markets Competition and Consumers Act 2024, so last year that came in. In light of this, the guidance on material information for estate agents and letting agents has been withdrawn, which sounds great, but it's still an obligation. It is essential that all agents are aware of this crucial announcement and how it will fundamentally affect their business operations, because it will. So Nathan Emerson, who's the CEO of Property Mark, in this article says, it is essential that all agents are aware of this, what I've just said, and how it fundamentally... While it's right to consider there will always be progression within the sector, there's been much time invested in ensuring compliance across the industry regarding material information. For it to become superseded by new legislation in less than 2 years, and with limited sector guidance for both consumers and practitioners to rely on, this could cause considerable confusion. No shit, Sherlock, The Material Information Guidance, which was initially introduced in late 23 and implemented in phases, was designed to help sales and letting agents meet their legal obligation. It covers issues. So basically what it does is it covers issues. So you need to be describing the property exactly, not giving false information. So tenure of the property, is it leasehold, freehold, rent charge, etc. The price, so you want the price to be clear. Property characteristics, and including stuff which I didn't know myself, to be honest with you. It's not something I really look at. Is broadband speed. I did know about flood risks, and aiming to bring standardization within the market. So make sure, trying to get everyone to describe the property using the same method, basically. So you're not going to one estate agent and it's put down a certain way, you go to another one, it's another way, it gets confusing. This is trying to get standardization. Despite the withdrawal of the guidance, and this is a bit I'm going to come to, it's really important. Despite the withdrawal of the guidance, the duty to provide material information remains. So the fact they've taken the guidance away, you've still got to do it. So if you're an estate agent, letting agent, property dealer, sourcer, trader, whatever you're calling it, it's exactly the same. It's the same for you guys as well. Don't think that you miss out on this. You're covered by exactly the same legislation. There's potentially higher risks for non-compliance. So in other words, increased fines under the new legislation, and the Competition and Markets Authority is expected to impose substantial penalties for any breaches. So they're going to flex their arms a bit flex their muscles a bit, and they're going to come down on people. Estate agents must now comply with legal requirements in the, I'm glad they've abbreviated this one, the DMCC Act, which is the act I talked about before, the one that's come in, which demands that traders behave fairly and diligently in dealings with consumers. So you can't there's no no deliberately misleading consumers. In fact, in some ways, you need to do your due diligence to ensure that the information that you give out is that you don't inadvertently mislead your consumers. So it's one thing to be deliberately misinform them. It's another thing not to be knowledgeable enough on the property or the legislation to inadvertently discriminate or mislead them on a property. So it's acting unfairly, misleading, behaving aggressively towards consumers. That goes without saying, really, doesn't it? So interim property ombudsman at the property ombudsman scheme, Leslie Horton comments, whilst the guidance has been withdrawn, we champion the principle of giving consumers and agents the support in understanding what material information should be disclosed up front. So, tenure, price, flood risk, is it a tenant in situ, what they're paying, etc. Our inquiry and casework data tells us that agents will need guidance to help them understand what is and what is not material information. We remain committed to working with national trading standards and industry stakeholders in this respect. In the interim, our experienced decision makers will continue to make fair and reasonable decisions on a case-by-case basis using our codes as a standard of professional agency practice. So in other words, someone makes a complaint against you, they are still going to use their codes to evaluate that complaint if it's to do with material information. Paul Offley, compliance officer at the Guild of Property Professionals, says the Guild has consistently championed initiatives that enhance transparency and consumer protection. The phased rollout of Material Information Guide was a significant step in that direction, and our members invested considerable time and resources to adapt their processes and ensure compliance. Well, you'd have to because it's a legal obligation. We understand that this to be progressive towards a greater clarity for everyone involved in property. He adds, it is therefore concerning that the established guidance has been withdrawn so abruptly, less than 2 years into its implementation. So there's been no real warning about this. It's just, right, we're having that guidance. It's coming out, it's off. While they reckon, get these words out properly in a minute, I promise you. While we recognise that legislation evolves, the speed of this change with the DMCC Act now taking precedence has the potential to cause considerable confusion for both practitioners and consumers, especially given the current lack of sector-specific guidance for the new Act. So basically, the Act's been come in, they've dragged the guidance away for the old Act, but they haven't put the guidance in place for the new Act, which they should have done when they took the guidance away for the old Act. So it's as someone I dearly knew has passed away last year used to say, it's a bit of arse about face. So they haven't, why would you do that? Why would you take guidance away from I understand the premise that it's to avoid confusion, but you need the other guidance in place before you take that guidance away. You need to make sure people understand it. It is, and he goes on to, Paul Offley goes on to say, it is essential that all agents are firstly aware of this crucial announcement and how it fundamentally impacts business and operations, that the industry has largely embraced the structured approach of the material information guidance. So they've appreciated that it's been a phased implementation. They've been consulted properly. They're happy with how that was implemented. To have it superseded so quickly without clear, readily available property-specific guidance under the new Act is a challenge. We urge relevant authorities to provide this clarity swiftly to ensure agents can confidently meet their obligations and consumers remain well informed. Get the guidance out there for these, these letting agents, estate agents and sources. You need the guidance. So Sheila Kumar, who is the CEO of the Council for Licensed Conveyancers said, the withdrawal of material information guidance for estate agents at this stage is regrettable and a backward step in the provision of information to guide potential home buyers in their choice. Yeah, because some people will be thinking that this means they don't have to provide material guidance now, and you do. You know, the obligation, just because they've withdrawn that legislation doesn't mean there isn't legislation there. You still have to provide that material information. Until such time as the CMA or future regulator of estate agents issues rules or guidance, we hope that the sector will continue its progress so far as adopting the approach set by NTS. Perhaps the Home Buying and Selling Council and the Digital Property Market Steering Group could take action here, because more timely and accurate information is vital to delivering fast and more certain transactions. It's basically a breakdown in communication. You know, in business, communication is essential. We know that. The Competition and Markets Authority, which is, you know, the governing body, has published general guidance on unfair commercial practices, but not specific guidance on the new act and what businesses need to know about unfair commercial practices. But the industry needs more sector specific guidance to help navigate these new requirements. The Competition and Markets Authority has published the following guidance, and it says the general guidance on unfair commercial practices, what businesses need to know about unfair commercial practices, guidance on the CMA's approach to consumer protection. So that's the end of the article, and my comments. It's not my end of my comments, but I'm still commenting about it. So it's definitely been done wrong, lack of communication. And we all know communication is key in business. What they've done is the old legislation has just been quickly withdrawn, along with the guidance that goes with it. New legislation was put in last year. There's no guidance for it, but you need that guidance. So, hey, what's happening here? You know, are you a letting agent? Did you know about this? Are you affected by this? Are you a property sourcer? Did you know you were covered by the same legislation as estate agents and letting agents, despite what certain training providers might tell you? But you are covered by this legislation, and you have to abide by this legislation. So it's a bit of a warning for people out there. You need to be up to date with this. Have a look at it. Make sure your practices are compliant with the new legislation. Make sure that you understand there is still an obligation to provide the correct material information. So that's all from me now, but please throw your thoughts down in the comments below, experiences, etc. I've got a podcast, I tend to mention it every time. It's called Efficiency in Property Investing. It's releasing a new episode midnight tonight. It's on solar panels and photovoltaic panels, solar panels being for heating water, photovoltaic differentiated because they create electricity. Please like, subscribe, share. It costs nothing to share, but it means a huge amount to me. I'll put a link in the comments below. Anyway, have a great Sunday afternoon. It's lovely and sunny out there. Get out there, do a bit of gardening, have a relax, maybe have a gin and tonic, a beer, or if you're not old enough, Coca-Cola, or if you don't drink, water, whatever. But enjoy your day. Keep moving forward and don't let the bastards grind you down.